that we talked about, this passion, this perseverance, that ability to stick with long-term goals, is explains success independent and beyond what talent and intelligence contribute. So a lot of times people think, well, only people who are, really talented or have a high IQ can get something done. And what we're really finding today, and it sort of brings me back to that point of what I said is I'm seeing in schools, is that having that ability to have that long-term focus and that ability to be able to be resilient and stick with things is really, really important. So also, why is this so important today? I think that's another thing that we can kind of ask. So first of all, we have a kind of certain climate going on. And I have to say, sometimes I can fall into being one of these parents that you see here on this picture. Right? So we have sometimes we have the helicopter parents, which people probably are familiar with, right? That people here familiar with helicopter parents? Yeah. Yes. And how about snowplow parents? Maybe not as much. So snowplow parents are the kind of parents who want to like make sure that the road is really, really smooth, right? That's like the snowplow parents, right? And then we have stealth bomb parents. That one's also kind of a newish topic when you kind of run right in and you have to come in like a stealth bomber and solve people's problems. And then the other thing is, and this is sort of interesting, is I don't know if you can see clearly on these things called crawlers. So how do I know about crawlers? A friend of mine actually who has a young child said to me, I have a question. I don't know if this is like the best thing, but I don't know. My toddler is like, they're like in learning how to crawl. And when they're learning how to crawl, it's like, I saw that these things you can buy where these like protections you can put on your elbows and your knees. And like if they do that, then it won't like, they won't feel anything. It'll feel much more comfortable when they're like crawling. And I was like, well, I think that's actually the part of the reason that people learn to like walk is because feels a little uncomfortable, to crawl. So that I think that we're kind of maybe not the right direction here with these crawlers. So I think that again, and if and often from a very good place. People are trying to make their children's life comfortable and happy. But on the other hand, all this way of doing this can have some inverse relationship with helping kids sort of develop this grit. And the other thing is why this is so important, especially with teens today, is that people's brains are changing. So there's all these devices and all this thing towards the short term and the immediate. And there's like a change in like that ability to kind of wait. And if you really think about grit and what I'm sort of interested in as a psychologist is helping to be more long-term, to be more mindful. And really culture and all these devices, the way that we're living, you know, I go to a restaurant now, I don't have to actually go to the restaurant. I actually take out my phone, go into my app, order my phone, and not order through the phone, and my actually salad is waiting there to be completely picked up. I I envision that my children will tell their children, they'll say to them, you know, once upon a time, do you know we used to go to this thing called a restaurant? And we actually waited for our food. And they'll be like, really? That's so interesting. So everything is sort of changing, and everything is so fast. And I think what we really do need to be more mindful and explicit about teaching these skills. Given where we are in the culture. And the other thing is that in terms of skills and what we need for our children today is, again, there's going to be more automation and robots and computers and things like math and reading and facts will be in people's devices. And what we'll need are kids who will be able to work in teams and be able to have that ability to stick with things and to be able to bounce back. So I think that, again, that's why the skills are so important today. So if this is so important, I guess the question is, why are we having such a hard time doing this? And I think that a lot of researchers and actually behavioral economics people and psychologists are talking about this notion that we are of two minds. So we have this kind of mind that sort of is more geared to the short term, to what's going to feel immediate, and then we have a part of our mind that's more focused on what's going to be long term. And if we think about it, we also actually really have a bias towards the short term. So something that's immediate, something that's concrete, that's right in front of us, we tend to have this kind of laziness towards that. So again, we need to really help people understand that process, just like we help them understand things like anxiety and things like that. We need to help them understand that we do have that bias, but in terms of the strategies I'm going to suggest to you, a lot of them are working because they make the long term more concrete and more in your face and help you kind of put more of that short term thinking more in the back burner. So the good news for me is that this stuff is teachable. So although I think that there is variation and people genetically probably have different predispositions in terms of how gritty they are, how much self-control they have, or even optimism, I do believe that they can be taught. One of the people who actually influenced me it was Walter Mischel. And Walter Mischel obviously is very famous for his marshmallow studies. But the other thing that he also, and he was very famous for doing these marshmallow studies, I'll talk about them a little bit later, where he had preschoolers, and he had some preschoolers who, some of them were given an opportunity, they were all given an opportunity of having one marshmallow now or two marshmallows later, and some of those kids could wait. And he found these findings that later on in life, even now those people are in their, I think their 50s and 60s, they're finding these effects of that ability to wait. But one of the things that Walter Mischel always talks about is how he really felt like he wanted to teach those other preschoolers what the other kids were doing, and he always believed that those things could be taught. And as well, and as a psychologist, I think we all believe that these things could be taught, because that's part of our business. So the way that I feel like we can help people sort of be taught is to take what we call motivational interviewing into account. I don't know if people here are familiar with Francesca and DiClemente's work, and I think that sometimes this is somewhere I see as a clinician, I feel like I kind of have grown. I feel like sometimes when I first started to do this work, I wanted everyone just to change. I wanted those clients to come in and be ready to change and like have them have all these kind of strategies they can do. But a lot of times the kids that you work with, if you're working with kids in a school or if you're working with kids as clients or teens, they might be pre-contemplated. They may not even realize that they have a problem. And so I think it's really essential when you do this work at helping people change is to meet them where they are and to really match the strategies of where they are. And if they're only pre-contemplative, if they don't even realize, let's say, that, getting, a 66, average in school, if they, and that's not a problem. It's sort of just to raise awareness about that and to have them get what we call that buy-in and to help them move up on that ladder. The other thing that I think is really important, and I've seen this, and I actually got this formula from one of Dr. Angela Duckworth's research paper, is this formula, which is that when we believe a goal is important, when we feel the effort and costs are worth it, and when we feel our likelihood of success is high, we will engage in activity. And if you really think, and you take a moment and think about maybe a client that you have, and you were feeling, let's say, like I know you guys do a lot of work with anxiety, but let's say they didn't think it was maybe so important to write on an elevator elevators or maybe they felt like it wasn't important to go to a camp or things like that. If that goal wasn't important to them, it was very hard to get that buy in. Or if the effort cost just seems too high. So let's say again, like I know you work a lot with kids who have a hard time sometimes even like talking and getting out and getting into their comfort zone. But if the cost seems so high to them, they don't know how to break those barriers. they're not going to be able to do that. Or if they feel that no matter what they do, they're never going to be successful. So as a person who's working with kids or teens or even adults, we need to tweak that formula, and we need to bring those kind of barriers down. We need to help them think that the goal is important, and we have to set things up where success breeds success. And I know that that's a lot of the work that you do here, is that you create environments where success will breed that success, and people are more willing to kind of put themselves out there and take those risks. And the other thing that I always keep in mind as a cognitive behavioral psychologist is that I keep this sort of framework in mind, which is that, oops, that go back, is that I want people to think of changing people's mindset, changing people's behavior, and just as important is the individual is to have that team involved. People I know, actually, I just actually had the pleasure of hearing Paul Tough speak about how children succeed, and he was talking about, in terms of his research and his work, is that it's very important in terms of grit and all these kind of character strengths to have people make changes. But if you don't change that environment, if you don't make that team sort of support that, that's only half sort of that package. So the first thing, as I said, in terms of the mindset that I think is really critical, is about make it about yes, or to have that intrinsic motivation to make it a get to, rather than a have to. And I want to just show you a video. A short video. Um, that sort of demonstrates that.
Awesome. I have so many things I want to ask you about. So I'm going to take the prerogative to start off, and we're doing great with time. So vis-a-vis relationships, um, so it happens that my talk next week is on the power of relationships and the science of relationships. So one study I came across that was fascinating was teachers who were taught to spend what we call in PCIT special playtime with young kids. But they called it in this other protocol banking time. Have you heard of this?
I just know I was.
So this is banking time. Target child a couple of 3 times a week, and they actually saw long-term cortisol changes for the positive just as a result. And this was matched groups of kids who got a match amount of time with the teacher, but not focused on the special positive attendance skills. So there's, to me, it was fascinating to see actual physiological evidence of the power of relationship. But what I've been thinking about is with what will be coming more and more, which are internet-based deliveries of treatments, which so far are showing to be pretty powerful. What does that imply about the necessity of a relationship for change?
Well, I think that.
I think some of those studies have been and will be actually not psychotherapy over the internet, but sort of you know, a computer delivered.
So
These
he's not showing you that
which
video.
is what we talk about a lot.
They had a problem
Here,
there. They were trying